All right, we are live. Hey everyone, Dave Calafiore along with Drew Griffin, and welcome to yet another. I guess we'll call it a Build-A-Bot session, but today we're going to again dive deep into the Flow Builder and kind of just take you through how that works, ways you might consider using it, and kind of just go through all the different different options and blocks in the Flow Builder. So, Drew, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. I'm feeling much better. I feel like human again, and I'm excited. I've been doing some fun stuff in the Flow Builder, and I think it's probably a good opportunity for us to kind of get everybody reacquainted with the Flow Builder and get people using it. Right. I think it's critical to jump in and not be afraid that you're going to break something. You got to test some things out. See what each of the blocks actually do within the builder. And I think that's kind of what today is all about, kind of taking it slow, but also let's speed up a little bit here. Let's start using the thing. Let's start, exploring and experimenting and seeing what we can actually do with this. But in its simplicity, David, you and I were just talking about this. In its simplicity, you got to just get started with the initial message. And I think that's probably a good place to start. So if
Yeah,
you guys are
absolutely.
watching, before we get started, go ahead and say hi. Let us know where you're watching this. Say hello in chat, so we can acknowledge you along the way. If you happen to have questions along the way, put in QQQ before your question. That way, I can identify it very quickly and bring that to the attention when we've got a little bit of a segue or a break in the action. The intention today is not to keep you too long, but really just kind of dive into the Flow Builder within AskSpot. And, let's get started, David.
Cool. All right, let me share my screen and we'll get going. Cool. Looks like Walt Robbins here, Local Scope Marketing, whoever that is. Hey, Chuck, how are you? Some familiar faces, Drew.
Yep. Identify yourself, Local Scope. We don't always know what everyone.
Wedobi?
We
Some
Yeah,
Wedobi? Stephen
that's
Collins. How you doing, Stephen? Awesome.
world
World
famous and
famous Herbert Valley. Yes, people on YouTube. If you're watching us on the YouTube, which probably you all are, I guess some people use some different names there for their accounts. Chris,
hey,
how you
Chris.
doing, man?
Good to see you.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's get into it, Drew. Just let us know. Do most? Quite a few of you do have access to the Flow Builder now. Just let me know in the chat. Put a 1 into the chat if you do indeed have access to the Flow Builder that we just released, or beta access anyway, Drew.
Yes.
Um, just last week. So Praxis Media Group says yes. Oh, it's
Stephen
Tom from
Collins.
Local Scope Marketing. Okay, cool. Looks like a bunch of you do have access to it. Cool. All right. Let me get my screen going here, Drew, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, let's dig in.
All right. So if you do indeed have access to the new Flow Builder, you'll see this in the menu here. It says Flow Builder Beta. It's in beta because we're still doing some testing on it, collecting some data, seeing how people are using it, and just kind of perfecting it a little bit. But if you click here, it's going to take you to a screen. It looks like this. If you don't have any flows built, there won't be any here. And to build your first flow, just click on the plus sign up here, and then you can give it a name and an optional description if you want. So we'll just call this a demo. Build a bot, and we'll hit create, and it takes us right into the Canvas page. All right. So first, let me kind of explain, like before we had the Flow Builder, the only way to use the bots or the custom assistants or GPTs you're building in AskSpot was to have them fully AI powered. Everything was powered by the AI, right? But now with the Flow Builder, you can build non-AI powered conversational flows that you can do a lot of interesting things with. Okay. For instance, let me just go back here and kind of show you one that I built for a real estate agent. This one is like for their open houses, right? I'll go through what all these blocks mean in just a moment. I just kind of want to just show you how you can build non-AI powered conversational flows, right? So this one, I'll open up our little widget here on the bottom. And it kind of, when you start it, it takes you through all these different blocks that you've set up. So this message block here is what you see at the top. So we have some really amazing homes on display this weekend. You can take a look at our lineup below. So this message flows into this gallery, which you see here, right? We've got an image gallery. You can also do videos. I'll take you through that and show you all that in a minute. And then the gallery flows to another message, which is here. If you'd like to schedule a private showing for any of these properties, please tap the button below. And then that message flows to the button here, right? So we've got a button to schedule a showing. Now that button, that can link out to another website, a landing page. It can also start and begin running another one of these flows, which is pretty cool. And then there's the final message. So if we click here, boom, it's starting another flow that we've built to book an appointment for one of these open houses, right? So none of this is powered by AI. This is all built by you here in the conversational flow builder, okay? So that's a big shift. Does everyone understand that? Like what this does? Now, once you build one of these out, you can connect it to one of the bots that you've built. So you can have a mixture of these conversational non-AI powered flows and the AI powered, bot or assistant or GPT, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Does everyone get that? Drew, just give me a little feedback if there's any confusion, kind of what we're getting at here.
Yep. If people comment, I will.
Good. All right. So that kind of just give you a kind of a little look into what one of these might look at. Let's go back here and let's kind of go through all these different blocks and show you how these work. Okay. So this is the one we just built here. So we'll start at the top and kind of just run through these quickly. The message block is really just that. It's just a simple message. So if we drag that into the canvas, that would be like our starting point, right? The message. Now the message doesn't have to be your starting point, but in this instance we are. So like, hi, this is my, actually, let's build this out. Actually, we'll do that after. This is my message. Let me kind of explain to you what's happening here. This is, you're typing in the actual message that will be seen when this flow is triggered. Okay. There's some formatting options here. You can do bold, italics. You can link words in the message. You can change the heading type. And then you have an option here to add a delay. So sometimes, these chatbots are really fast, right? And sometimes it's a nice idea to kind of slow things down a little bit and make it seem a little bit more natural. So you can add delays in between the triggering of one block and another. Okay. So if we put like a 5-second delay, what will happen is the person will see the little typing bubbles for 5 seconds before the next block is triggered. So hit save. So that's a message block. Okay. Now the next type of block is a question block. So this is where you can actually collect information from one of these flows. Okay. So we have the question block, and then depending on whether the question they answered was a success and they gave you the correct information, perhaps they didn't answer correctly and they gave you the wrong information, you can flow either to a success side or a failure side and kind of branch off. Okay. So if we click on this, this is where you'd ask your question. So maybe your question is, hey, before we get started, may I please have your, or grab your first name? Okay. So we're asking for somebody's first name. Again, we can put a delay between that block and the next block. Now, what's really interesting here is that you can save the answer that was given to the question that you asked. Okay. And we do that by using what's called an attribute. So we have a bunch here already made that you can choose from: name, email, language, time zone. There's a bunch of, here, but you can also create your own custom attributes. Okay. So if you don't see what you need here, or you just want to name it something else, you can hit the plus sign. When you hit that plus sign, it opens up this other option here to create a custom attribute. So maybe I just want to call this first name. And then you can also validate those answers based on different criteria. So if you were like collecting email, you could validate a valid email format. If you just wanted people to use letters and numbers, you could do that. Integers, URLs, valid URL format, yes, no, things like that. You can validate. We're not going to do any validation on this because it's just a first name. But if you want to, you could. Then once you set that, you just click Add Custom Attribute. And as you can see, it loads it right in here. So now it's going to be whatever the answer to this question is going to be saved in the first name attribute. Okay. We're not going to do any validation. And then you can also choose, hey, if the person does not answer in the correct way, what should happen? You can send them to the success block or the failure block. We're probably going to get rid of the failure block for this. So we'll just hit save. Boom. So we'll get rid of this. Now, we can ask another question, right? So maybe we want to ask what the email address is. Do like, great. Now, this is interesting here is we can now use those attributes within our messages, which is really neat. Okay. So maybe we want to do something like great first name. So what will happen is it will add that person's first name in here. So it seems a bit more personalized. It's kind of like a merge tag that you'd use in like an email marketing platform where you say, hey, first name, and it adds the person's first name in. Now, I just need your email address so I can contact you if we get disconnected. Oops. There we go. Right. So it's like, hey, first name. Now we just need your email address so I can contact you if we get disconnected. So we'll come down, we'll put another little delay here, 5 seconds. We want to save this attribute. We're going to save it to the email attribute, right? We're going to validate with the valid email format validation, and we'll just hit save. All right. So now maybe we want to take that information and we want to store it somewhere. We want to send it somewhere. Maybe we have a CRM. Maybe you've got an email marketing platform. Maybe you want to save that to a Google Sheet. Maybe you want to email one of your clients that somebody just initiated a conversation here. Whatever it happens to be, it's super easy to now take this information and get it out of AskSpot and into another software platform. So what you want to do is you would go and grab the webhook block here. And now you can just pull this in here. And we'll open this up. And this uses webhooks to offload any data collected from this flow where you've asked questions off to another platform. As you can see, those attributes, first name, right? That's the custom one. And then email are here. They're shown to us, right? So if we go to like Zapier here, we'll log in quick. I'll kind of show you how this works. It's super easy. Come on, Zapier. Let's try this again. Drew, any questions while we're waiting for Zapier to let me log in?
It doesn't look like it. Just a couple of folks that were looking for access. Guys, Chuck, Robin, I went ahead and gave you access to it. Just check your messages and refresh your screen. So you should now have access to FlowBuilder. It does look like we have a question here from Cameron. Boyd, can you webhook attributes and form field data in the same chat?
Attributes and form field data. I got to check on that for you.
It's a good question, Cameron.
Yeah.
We'll do some testing and we'll double check on that. That's a good question.
Unfortunately, Zapier is not allowing me to log in right now, but basically you create a webhook that catches a hook. I don't know what's going on. Oh, there we go. Now we got it. I don't know what's going on over there, Drew. Might be just my internet, maybe.
Might be.
There we go. Now we're in. Okay. So let's, we're going to create a new Zap here. And that'll load up. And then we're going to choose for the trigger. The starting point is the trigger, which is here. We're going to choose webhook. Okay. Then in the sidebar here loads up the info for the webhook. At some point. My goodness. I don't think it's my internet. Sometimes it is, but I don't think that's the case today.
I can try and log in on my.
There we go.
There
it's coming. It's just a little slow.
Fine.
So we're going to choose the option to catch a hook. Hit continue. And then Zapier gave me a webhook URL. We're going to copy that. If we come back over here into AskSpot, we're going to take this, paste it here. Okay. And you'll see once you paste it here, the button comes up for testing the webhook. So what happens when you click this button is it sends this test information over to Zapier. So we'll click that. You can see we get the green success message here that it sent the information. If we click here to test the trigger, boom, here's our request with the test information. And we've got our two fields, right? First name and email address. Super easy. Now, if you wanted to send this off to like another application, like a CRM or an email marketing platform, you can do that. I'll just pull up one of ours as a test. It's really just as simple as matching up the fields in the platform that you want to send the information to. Maybe let me see if we can try one more time here. Sorry for the slowness, guys.
That's all right. I actually appreciate a little bit of delay. Gives us a chance to really chill out for a moment.
Yeah.
So guys,
we'll come back to it.
In a moment, there's a bunch of questions of folks that have not got access to it yet. And we'll give you an idea of, for those of you who weren't on our previous lives as we launched this, we just ask that you guys support us. And if you've been with AskSpot for a while, we're asking for a little bit of help over on Product Hunt. Basically, the process was to upvote us and give us a review over on Product Hunt, and in exchange, we'd give you access to beta. And
if you don't know about this, if they don't know about this by now, they have not been opening or reading any of our emails, looking at any of the posts in the group.
Yeah,
because we've been at it for 2 weeks now talking about this stuff. It's funny.
We'll give you the exact thing by the end of this call today as well. So those of you who haven't had it, we just need a little bit of help. We want to try to bring awareness to AskSpot, and the way that we're doing it is through Product Hunt. So we'll give you the exact steps if you haven't done that yet. I don't think that's a huge ask of us to do, is just to go and review us over there on Product Hunt, and then in exchange for that upvote and review, we'll give you access to the FlowBuilder.
Got it. All right. So let's see if that actually it did load over here. So there we go. There's our, we're sending it to this email marketing platform. So you'd click here, right? And you choose like an event. Maybe we want to add or update a person or add whatever it happens to be for you. Just want to show you like how easy it is to kind of set something like this up to export this information out. So we'll just pick an event here. An account. There we go. Continue. And then basically, we've got two fields. So we would just click, we want to match up the email field. So we just click email, and then we choose the email attribute that we have here. Boom. And then we would go to first name and choose first name. Boom. And just hit continue. And you could hit test. And now it sends that information over into whatever platform you've selected. Whether it's your CRM or an email marketing or a Google Sheet, it's as easy as that to just offload that information. Maybe you wanted to send an email to your client, like when somebody initiates or runs through the chat. You can send an email from Zapier. You can send an email from your Gmail account here. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do once you get that info out of AskSpot using the webhook. So that's the webhook stuff. Kind of moving on here. The next block is our multiple choice block. So if we pull this in, we'll connect here. And the multiple choice block, you can ask kind of like a question, like, which would you prefer? Whoops. There we go. Hit save. You can also pull those attributes here too, right? First name, email. We could put like the person's first name in. Which would you prefer? First name, question mark. Hit save. Now, these are the options here, right? So there's a new option block. If you just pull that in, there's option number 1. There's option number 2. Here's option number 3. And you can just go so on and so forth. So you just name these option 1. Then you could put delays in between these. Option 2. And option 3. Now, depending on, which option they select, we kind of just organize these a little bit differently. Now you can be branched in 3 different ways. You can go down this pathway, or this pathway. And just to kind of show you, what this looks like, if we go and run this, that's my message, right? So this is the question, hey, what's your first name? Dave. Typing, 5-second delay. Great, Dave. Now I just need your email address so we can connect, so we can contact you if we get disconnected. Email. Now that stuff sent to the webhook passes through, and then it gives me the multiple choice, right? So which would you prefer, Dave? Option 1, option 2, option 3. Now, depending on which option you click on, you'd go down that particular pathway. Is that making sense to everybody? And Drew, we'll just stop here and answer any questions if there are any.
Yeah. Bob asks, is there a better way or just an alternate way to capture info from the form versus the flow? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, other than those 2 areas. I mean, inside the... Go ahead, David.
Yeah, one's not really better than the other. They're just different. It's personal preference. But this, I think the conversational type flow where you're extracting information is a little bit more natural. But you can also, use a form if you wanted to and do it, and send that info off the same way with a webhook.
Yeah, we can also capture that content within the chat log itself. So,
Hmm.
which is a little bit burdensome for you, but if you wanted to actually see the context of the conversation that's actually happening, that data is going to be there, which you would still need to extract that from the chat itself. This enables you to pass that off if you want, into something a little bit more functional, a little bit more useful, Bob. So I agree. It's just, I think it just comes down to personal preference. But if you don't want to mess around with webhooks, that information would be captured right there within the chat log itself.
Hmm. So, that's the multiple choice, and you can add, a bunch of these. It just kind of creates a, selection buttons basically, and then depending on which button they click on, they go down that particular pathway. So, um, the next block here that we'll talk about is image. This is pretty self-explanatory. You just pull like an image block in, and if we click on that, you can either put a URL to an image or you can upload an image. We'll just grab a random image here. Doesn't really matter. So it adds our image in. Again, you can put another delay between this block and the next block. Boom. Very self-explanatory. Video. Click on that. Oops. Kind of similar to the image block. So you can put a URL to a video or you can upload a video. And then there's a few other options here too. So let me just grab a video URL. Copy something here. There we go. So you can put a Loom URL, a YouTube URL, or Vimeo, and it will just instantly embed it. And then what's also cool is that you can put a button underneath the video. So maybe it just says, more info. So these buttons, you can change the color scheme on them. So you can make them, whatever color you want. You can change the background color. You can change the text color. That's all customizable. And then you can choose, hey, do you want this button to go to a link, google.com, or would you rather have this button trigger another flow? So maybe this is a video on a specific product or topic. And if somebody wants more info, maybe you've built out another flow that kind of lays out what the product is and the benefits and some more information about it. And if somebody clicks on the more info button, it would trigger that next flow to begin. Okay.
David,
You can do either or.
why you mentioned
Sure.
that, this is actually a good question from Cameron.
Hmm.
He asked, is there a way to loop back to an earlier block if perhaps the type in an email typo or incorrect phone number, etc.?
Yeah, you can just loop back to start the flow over again. So you can use a button that says start over, and that button could be connected to the original flow or another flow that you've built that just goes through that particular little part of what was missed or what you wanted to start over again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. And then
Okay.
Bob asked, do images or videos slow down the bot?
Well, not the embedded ones really, because it's being hosted somewhere else, but there is a size limitation, which is kind of small for the uploaded videos. And that is the reason why, because, really the majority of people who are going to be interacting are going to be on mobile devices. That's just the way it is these days. So we want to make sure that people who perhaps are on a slower connection, still have a smooth experience when engaging with the flow, right? And because of that, we make the upload restrictions pretty low for this. We want those videos to load quickly and not slow things down or get gunked up if someone happens to be on a slow connection.
By the way, that's a technical jargon for slowing things down, gunking it up. Does that make sense, Bob? I mean, I think it's, I think that's a really good question that everybody should consider when you are architecting and engineering some of these bots that you guys are creating and these AI assistants. Like, take some of this into consideration of how your audience and your intended audience are actually going to be experiencing and engaging with your AI assistants. Like, what's the environment that they're doing? So consider that. Like, don't frustrate yourself and your end user by, the technical limitations of the devices that these, people are going to be engaging with. So, when you're uploading a video, consider that. Like, okay, maybe it makes sense to put your video into Loom, right? Or maybe it makes sense to create a separate YouTube channel or a Vimeo channel specifically for these types of videos, right? And we understand that there's an expense, right? Whether it's a financial expense or just the expense of managing multiple accounts and things of that nature. But the end experience, the final experience when somebody actually goes through and engages with this bot needs to be quick. It needs to be like, almost instantaneous. Um, we can't control network speed, right? If somebody's, in an environment where they're between two mountains and there's no cellular service, we can't control that. So, um, internet access and, browsing capability and speed and stuff like that, we have no control over that. Um, David's in an area right now, and sometimes the internet goes in and out, or maybe it's just, Amazon web server, or maybe it's somebody else's, their servers are down or something like that, and we don't have control over that kind of stuff. But it's also worth, you know, considering that as you're building some of these things out. Um, Great question.
Yep. Where am I here? Okay, so that, pretty straightforward here. Use a video URL or upload a video. You can optionally add a button here that can trigger another flow or just link out to another page or a URL. And you could choose the flow here from your flows if you wanted to do that, or add the link. And then obviously too, just like all the others, you can put a delay between this block and the next block. Okay, so that is the video block. URL, it's very straightforward. Just add this here and basically just put the text. So this is the link. And then you put the URL here, and you can add a delay if you want for the next block. There you go. Very, very straightforward there. Forms. You can make forms trigger within these flows too. So this isn't, as we were discussing before, I think someone asked about forms. What's better? I don't know. What's better is really, it's more about what your personal preference is and how you want to collect information. But you can drag a form in here. You click on this. It allows you to select one of your forms. You can either do the opt-in type style form or the in-chat style forms. You can also make this required in order for the person to move forward and continue on with the flow. Okay, so that's a great option there too. So you just select the form, bring that in, and boom, that form will show up within that flow. Forms, you can just automatically start another flow. So if somebody was going down this pathway here where they chose option number 1, this could just automatically start another flow that you've built. And go down a whole different pathway. Pretty simple and self-explanatory. This next block is one of my favorites. This is the gallery block. And what's really cool is that you can kind of create like a gallery slider within your chat. So all you do is click add new media, and you can do images or video, right? So and you can actually mix and match between both. You can either do an image URL, upload the image, and then with the video, kind of the same way, video URL, Loom, YouTube, Vimeo, or you can upload a video also. Another great option too is that you can change the aspect ratio. So if you're doing more of a vertical type video, you can do the one-to-one. Or if you're doing more of the landscape normal size video, you can do the 16:9. And those are editable per video that you're adding in. So you might have different aspect ratios for different videos. So if we go to Loom here, grab one of these, we'll just put in the URL. So that's, video 1. And then additionally, each video or image that you add in can have its own button link underneath. So button 1. Again, it can link to a URL, or you could choose another flow. You can change the button background color and button text for each button. And then you can also set a delay for the particular button. So if we want to add another video or image, we just click add new media, choose image or video. So maybe we'll do, an image for this one. We'll upload an image. There's our image. You can add button if you want to. It's optional. Add another one. We'll do a video on this one, just as an example. There we go. And then also too, you might want to reorder these. So you can click reorder and you can move these around. Play around with that, save. And now you have this, multimedia gallery, mix of images and videos or whatever you want, that shows up as a slider. I showed you this when we did the intro here, and I was kind of showing you that open house flow that I built. Really awesome. I love this feature, Drew.
It's killer. I think this just expands the opportunity for all of us here to do some very, very interesting things with these AI assistants.
Mm-hmm. So that is the gallery block. Webhooks we talked about already. You can also add an audio player in. So maybe you build a custom GPT or an assistant for like a podcast, and you wanted to put some I don't know, a message from the podcast host, or maybe you wanted to add some different podcast episodes into a flow. Well, you could do that, right? Super easy. You can either upload the audio, the MP3 file, or you can link to the file directly. And then it kind of works the same as the others. You can put a button underneath it. You can link out to URL, choose a flow, and boom, you get an audio player within your flow. And then buttons. This is really cool too. I think this, where am I going here? There we go. Oops, I did audio again. Let's delete that. Delete button. There we go. So buttons kind of just allow you to make a big list of buttons that people can select and kind of choose what they want more information on, right? So we can add a button. Button 1. Again, you can add a link or choose a flow. You can change the background color and the text color for each button. Another button. Button 2. Button 3. And then you can also reorder these two. So if you put them in the wrong order initially or want to change it around, you can really easily do that. and boom, it kind of gives you like a layout like this. Button 1, button 2, you could have like 20 of them if you want. There's really not a limit. So it can almost, Drew, you can almost create like a link tree type of scenario where you're just giving somebody a bunch of options of something that they're interested in. And then, they hit button 1, it could go down that particular flow that's connected to button 1 or
Yeah,
button
I love
2 or
that.
button 3. So super easy. And, webhooks we talked about. The last one I'll talk about is AI mode. So AI mode returns the control back to artificial intelligence, right? So maybe your bot was as simple as just collecting, um, like if we delete all these, delete, there we go. Maybe your flow here was as simple as just collecting someone's first name and email address before they got to actually interact with the AI, right? Well, super easy. We collect the last step here was, running the webhook and sending the first name and the email address off to the webhook. And after that, what we want to do is just go back into regular bot usage, meaning the AI has basically control over everything. So you just pull in this AI mode block, right? And then what you could really do here is kind of build out your welcome message. If you imagine this what we just have here where we're asking for the first name and the email address was kind of like the opening message to the block. Like, hey, before we get started, can I just grab your first name? Can I grab your email address? They entered that stuff and it's like, great, okay, now we're good to go. Now you can ask me whatever questions you have. So like, great. First name. I'm here to answer any questions you have. Boom. So now where AI is controlling the conversation now, right? So let's save this. We've covered all the blocks. So the next part of this is like, how do I connect these flows to my bots? And it's really, really easy. We have a couple ways currently. We'll probably be expanding upon this as we kind of get into it a little bit and start, embellishing upon our MVP of the Flow Builder. But if we go here, let me just pick. Go in here. Let's do this one. So this is a bot built out for a client of ours who's a doctor's office, and it's just really basic. It says, "Hey there, I'm an AI powered assistant for GU Westmoreland. Please let me know if you have any questions." So, what if we wanted to kind of have our flow be the opener for the engagement with the bot? So, if we go to settings, we can get rid of this welcome message here. And then if we go to flow settings, this is new. So when you have the flow builder, you'll see this new addition here within your bot setup. If you toggle this switch on or check that box, you can now select a flow that will start running as soon as somebody opens the chat widget up and starts engaging. Okay. So if you hit save, this is the flow we built, right? It's like this is my message. That doesn't quite make sense for this particular business, but I'm just trying to give you an example. Hey, before we get started, so Dave, here we go. Get my email. Let's go into the webhook now, right? That information is getting passed to the webhook, off to my CRM. Great, Dave. Now it's in AI mode. So now it's just like the bot is running just like it always has with the context and knowledge that it's been trained on. So, like, what are your office locations? There you go, right? Office phone number, make an appointment. Okay. Pretty cool. Another way to connect this is, or connect one of these flows to your bot, is via the channels. Okay. So let's go back. Let's add our welcome message back in. This is my welcome message. Save. We'll remove this. See, so now you're just getting the initial welcome message that we set up in the general settings here. So if you go to channels and we choose add channel, you'll see this new channel here for flow. This is a flow channel. Click on that. Now, what we're like, kind of the way that we're connecting this doesn't quite make sense for the use case that I'm showing you, but I just want to show you how you can use a channel to connect a flow to the bot in a different way. So flow demo, we'll choose the flow, right? That's the one that we built. We hit create, and status is on. Okay. So here is the flow demo. If somebody clicks that button, there you go. The flow begins. No AI involved here. This is something that you built out, a conversational flow that you've built. No AI included here. All right. Now, what if you wanted to maybe not have it kind of show up at the bottom of the bot, like here, or as one of the options? You can toggle this off, status off, hit update. Maybe I want to add a button that shows up with the welcome message here. So what I can do is I can select the channel that I've built out. Let me just close this so I can't see. There we go. Here's the flow demo, right? That's the channel I made here. It's called flow demo. And flow demo, save. Now, when I open this, boom, there is a button here. Maybe this is like, I don't know, could be make an appointment, connect with us, whatever it happens to be. You can connect a flow in this way too. So if I click that, boom, that flow begins. So currently, those are the two ways that you can take one of those conversational flows that you can build and connect it to one of your AI-powered bots. Okay.
Smooth.
Come back now, Drew, and answer questions. I'm sure there's some questions.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. So Cameron asked, so regarding the AI block, does that refer back to the chatbot's prompt and source files?
Correct. Yep. Correct. Currently, it does.
Michael and Teresa Dance ask, are there any kind of limits on the flow builder, such as max number of blocks or max number of videos/audio files?
I don't think so. I don't think they put any arbitrary limits in. I mean, if it's an embedded video, it doesn't really matter to us. It's really just an embed, so there's no like load on the platform in a sense. So I don't believe there are any limits arbitrarily built in.
All right, now I'm probably going to crush this name, but I apologize since we're doing this live. Adodo or whatever. Can we duplicate a flow?
Not yet, but that's coming. That's on our list of things to do. Keep in mind, we're just getting started. So there's going to be features that you're looking for, things that you want. Before we build more stuff into this, this is our starting point. We want to see how people are using it. We want to see what features a lot of you are requesting. So just keep in mind, like, this is just a starting point. You're going to be able to duplicate flows. You're going to be able to share flows. There's lots of cool stuff coming, but this is really just kind of our minimal viable product in terms of the flow builder. We're just getting started.
Yeah, which I think is
when we first launched AskSpot, did it look like how it looks now? And I think you'd all answer no.
Yeah.
So we will build upon this over time. with what makes sense for the community.
Yeah, and know that we're trying to do this the right way, to build it that where it makes sense, that it's simple, that it's elegant, that it makes it really really easy, copy and paste, drag and drop, simple to use. That makes sense, right? So you're not trying to figure stuff out and be overly technical and all that other kind of stuff. Uh, Speaking of technical, I think this is an interesting question from Carolyn Huff. Um, this is a validation question. Can you validate a person who is in your membership? For example, validate a person against a separate list of members, maybe like a source file.
Not
That we,
currently. No.
yeah,
Nope. Not currently.
it's a good question though. I think that's it for the time being. I think we pretty
All
much
right.
answered the others. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in there.
Yeah. We got about, I don't know, about 10 minutes or so. We can hang out. If you have any, other questions, they don't have to be Flow Builder related. Happy to answer, do some Q&A. But
That was a
happy to.
kind statement. Not many platforms have evolved like AskSpot. Thank you for that. That's we agree, and we're trying. We're really trying to listen to, and this is why we're so eager to see you guys build some cool stuff with this and like push the limits. And then in the past we've made mistakes where we went gung ho and built in features into other platforms that we've built, only to see nobody use it whatsoever, right? And it doesn't make sense for us to spend time, energy, and resources building stuff that nobody uses or sells. By the way, somebody, let me scroll through. I want to give kudos to someone. Let me there we go. I'm going to post this up there. I hope you don't mind. Praxis Media Group. I'm not sure who that is behind Praxis. Said, finally, just officially signed up my first customer today, getting their credit card information.
Nice.
Time to stack monthly subscribers. So a word on this, if we will. This is what it's about, my friends. We want to see you guys win like Praxis Media Group, and whoever's behind that. I apologize. I don't know everyone's agency names. So, if we know each other socially and personally, I apologize. I don't always remember everyone's agency names and YouTube channels and all that kind of stuff. But we truly want to celebrate your wins. So if you guys have wins, please let us know. Drop a message in support, post inside the AskSpot school group. If you're not in there, by the way, I will create a banner and drop a link inside of chat so you guys can join that. We want you to be inside that group and sharing your wins, your challenges, and the cool stuff that you're creating. Right? We want to celebrate alongside you, and ultimately, that's what this is all about. We built this tool specifically for you guys to go out there and offer these custom AI assistants and tools to your audience, right? To your members. We just simply can't reach them all. And we're doing a lot inside of our communities. We've got a growing list and roster of clients of our own, and we're discovering interesting ways to do this. And we'll continue to share that with you. But we also want to spotlight and highlight you guys for the things that you're building. For those of you who have received access to the Flow Builder, we want to see you guys building stuff inside there, like test it out. If you're running into challenges, we do have onboarding. Kim Amio from support has been working with people on the onboarding and kind of orienting people to AskSpot. If you haven't taken advantage of that call, we highly encourage you to do that, to reach out to customer support and get on the schedule, right? If you kind of need a little bit of a walkthrough and you're afraid to use the Flow Builder or the platform, let's help get you up to speed and start to test some things out and get any burning questions that you have you know, you can ask them and get them answered by somebody who's just a delight to work with. She's just an amazing individual. So yeah, any other questions? Let's see if Chuck says, is the Flow Builder accessible under settings?
If you have access to the Flow Builder, it will show just like it does on my screen there. If you do have access or are supposed to have access, you're not seeing it, I would just try logging out, logging back in, or clearing your browser cache. Sometimes, you know, when you add a new feature like that, your browser hangs on to the old data.
Yep.
If not, reach support and we'll take a look for you.
Yeah, Chuck, I think I added it in your account. So double check if it's not, maybe clear your browser and refresh your screen. Carolyn says, on the validation, if you switch to AI, can you train the AI to validate the person against a separate list?
No.
Yeah, not at this point. Smart Marketing Pros asks, does a conversation continues from the same spot if the user leaves the site and does the flow start at the beginning? Sorry if this is a repeat question. So if they leave the site, I think unless they clear their cookies, right, David? Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, so if the person has cookies enabled, it's going to kind of track their IP address. So as you can see, I've started this flow here, right? And if I refresh the screen, or if I were to come back later, so if like I could just totally close this tab out and paste that back in, you can see so basically it just continues on. It doesn't start the flow over. So it just, you know, continues on with what's there.
Unless, of course, they refresh the bot itself or they clear their cache, their cookies, and all that kind of stuff. Most people aren't going to do that, right? If they're engaged inside an AI assistant or bot, they're probably not going to do that. This is kind of why we recommend, if you know they started the process and you're capturing their lead, you know, you kind of give that statement, hey, just in case we get disconnected, you can at the very least you can capture their name, and if they reach out to your customer support, if they happen to have one, that, you know, at least you have some of that data already captured, that you can, you know, look back at the chat log and the history and go from there.
So, I mean, overall, I think the easiest use case or the simplest use case where you guys should all get started just to use the tool itself is to use these flows for the initial conversation starter and connect it to the bot like I showed you. You go to the flow settings in your bot and connect your flow as the initial message, right? You can welcome somebody, you can collect data if you want to, you can explain the types of questions that people may want to ask when interacting with the bot and the AI. Whatever it happens to be for your use case, that is one of the easiest ways to get started, is by just building the initial conversation out with the flow. And then, you know, collect first name, collect the email address, send that off to a CRM or whatever it happens to be, and then say, thanks for all the information. Now just let me know if you have any questions about blah, 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 whatever it happens to be for your use case. Like that is the easiest way or the easiest use case that I can think of for getting started with the Flow Builder, Drew. And like, if you want to just get started, and I know like when you go to that page and it opens that canvas up and it's just a blank canvas, you're thinking, what the hell do I create here? That is the easiest way to get started and kind of just get used to using the Flow Builder, understanding it a bit, and actually building something that you can easily attach to one of your AI-powered bots.
Yep. There was one question regarding tagging. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Cameron asks, can I create a tag when creating a flow so I can search and organize them? Or how do I do that?
Yeah, you can. So if you go to your flow builder here, just click on the plus button and you can create a tag. So we'll just create like a demo tag, add tag, right? So now I can just, or I added that there already, but I can search by or filter by tag. Did I add it? Demo. So yeah, you can add tags here. Create demo. There we go. And then you can go through and like say if you want to create a bunch of flows that are for the same bot, you can just go through and give all those flows the same tag. And then you can filter by tag.
Does that make sense, Cameron? Does that help you?
I know, like if you're going to create a bunch of flows for a bot, it can get confusing. So yeah, that's a great way to organize is just by using the tags here. And you can just delete the tags if you want to.
There you go.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, guys, we kept you for about an hour or so, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
For those of you
So what I want,
who are
who's gonna
interested,
dig in and start using the flow builder? I would love to see some of you guys starting to use this. Hopefully you guys have a little bit more of an understanding of what's there, different ways you can use this. And it's really up to your use case. Like Drew and I can't tell you, you need to build this flow. It's really dependent on your specific use case and what you need to accomplish. If you're working with a real estate agent, you might want to build a slider of all their open houses with buttons that go to other flows that have all the details of that open house, right? It really depends on your use case.
So, Carolyn, the best way to do this, if you haven't already done so, is you should see a scroller coming across the screen right now. Kim, if you wouldn't mind dropping this link inside of the chat, maybe I can do it right here. Let's see here. I don't know if I can. Yeah, it's not letting me. You should see a banner scrolling across the bottom, producthunt.com/post/AskSpot-AI. If you go ahead and upvote us there and leave us a review, honest and transparent review. Ideally, we would love a kind and positive feedback. That would be awesome. And then, send a screenshot of that over into support if you're an AskSpot member. We'll validate that. We've had several hundred people go through this, and we're working our way through turning that on in those accounts. Remember, this is beta access, guys. We would love to give you guys access to this, but we're trying to get a little bit more exposure for the application. Yep. I don't think this is a big ask of everyone to do.
All right, Drew, let's just make it easy. In the school group for AskSpot, it's pinned at the top. These are the instructions of what you need to do. Just follow the instructions and we'll get you access. Easy as that.
Yep. There you go. Well, sometimes I make it a little bit harder, David. That's how my brain works sometimes. But yeah, if you're not inside the school group, you should obviously join us over there. There's lots of stuff. We're starting to put in some sales and marketing stuff. We're going to have some stuff in there for you relatively soon. We're working on that kind of stuff for you, so you can go out there and promote your own custom AI chatbots. We're going to be talking more about how to go out there and sell chatbots and AI assistants to local businesses of all kinds, all types of industries and verticals and all that kind of stuff. But it starts with you guys, right? We want you to start to use the Flow Builder and create some cool stuff out there. We want to feature you guys and spotlight some of the cool stuff that you guys are doing. But, a lot of you already have access to this and you haven't done anything with it. So it doesn't make sense for us to continue to build in more features if you're not using it. So,
And just to keep in mind too, like our goal here with AskSpot is to keep it easy to use, like simplicity, a nice blend and mix of simplicity, easy to build, easy to use, easy to understand with power, right? Now, if you're looking for a lot of complex options in AskSpot, we might not be the platform for that. So just realize that, like, our goal here is to keep AskSpot easy to use, easy to understand, and really allow you to set up these assistants and chatbots and custom GPTs in a very easy, you know, an easy to understand simplistic way without having to have a PhD or be overly technical, right? So just keep that in mind. Like we that is our goal. That's where we're going with the platform, is not to add every button, feature, API connection to it. We want to make it a nice mix of easy to use, simple, but still powerful for your needs.
Thank you, Robin. Robin said, great training. Thank you. I did it all myself, by the way. It was my AI that I programmed, David Calafiore over there. David, you did a great job, man. Well done.
Thanks.
Nice little walkthrough of the FlowBuilder. Guys, that's it for today. Spend the rest of the day doing what you do, but get busy. Get busy inside the FlowBuilder. Have some fun with this. And we'll talk to you guys soon. If you happen to have questions, let us know. Reach out to support if you haven't already done so. Get your onboarding, connect with Kim. Kim is an absolute rock star. She's really been a delight to work with.
Let me show everybody what, before we go, one more thing. If you want to connect with Kim.
Yep.
Where's my screen? Oh, there's my screen. Oh, I see. Okay. Right here, in school, there's a link right here. We can log into AskSpot from here, but this is if you want to make an appointment for an onboarding call or you need help, you can click here. This will take you right to the calendar, and you can make an appointment to connect with Kim for a half hour. She can answer questions for you. She can help you build your first bot. If you're confused with something, she can kind of help work you through it. She does a really great job, and all you have to do is go into the group, go right here, and find the calendar and find a time to connect with Kim. Super easy.
Yeah, there's no excuses. If you're, timid or whatever, this is free, right? We're providing this to you for free, and this might be the genesis of you getting started to create something pretty profound. AI is not going anywhere. I would absolutely make that meeting a priority. Have an opportunity to connect with Kim, start to use this platform to help local businesses of all kinds, right? Start selling these bots, right? Like, you got to start using the tool and be able to truly help some people out there do some pretty amazing things for themselves and for their businesses. That said, guys, you've got the choice. You know how to connect with Kim. You know how to get access to FlowBuilder if you haven't already done so. Those instructions are right there inside the AskSpot community, inside of school. And with that said, guys, enjoy the rest of the day. We will have an announcement for next week's Build a Bot call. I would expect it to be the same time next week, next Thursday. We'll be doing another one of these sessions, most likely about the FlowBuilder again. Maybe we'll show something cool that we've created. Better yet, if you guys have something that you've created and would like us to kind of review that, let us know. Reach out to Kim and say, hey, this is what I've built. We would love to take a look at and show you guys off to everybody else that's on this call. That said, guys, enjoy the rest of the day. We're gonna get busy. We'll talk to you guys soon.